just another Zanotti system. It's not running the condenser fan or the evaporator fan. I've just spun this one. It's a bit tight. I don't think it's getting any power, or if it is, it's not trying to run. I'm on a trailer, so we can get the cover off and have a look. Right, got the cover off. We've got a load of wires that are disconnected. I think that somebody's replaced the controller at some point. We've got a high pressure switch up here. I've got a suspicion that actually runs the condenser fan motor. I've seen this style before, and they actually cycle the fan motor on and off as the head pressure goes up and down. So that might be what that's doing, or it might be a HP cutout for a compressor, but I think it's possibly for the fan, so that might be why we've got no condenser fan. The evaporator fan might be off on a temperature sensor. It might wait for the evaporator to get cold, or we might have a wiring issue here. There's no diagram with this. Anyway. Right, that's the evaporator. I've got no fan. Hear the gas whizzing through there. And that is getting really hot to the touch. It's too hot for the handle. So it's almost like it's stuck in defrost mode. Let's see what that controller's doing. Right, what we found after digging about is they've actually got a mechanical defrost timer tucked away down the back there, and that function would normally be done by this. So where this has been off for 3 months, I think possibly that timer's stuck. Node's chained on the compressor. Yeah, that's what the problem is. Right, so it's that timer that's playing up. I haven't got one of my little cheap controllers on the van, so we're going to have to go with this Corel one. I think it's like a universal one. It'll do loads of stuff. I think there's about 5 different relays in there. You can set it up to do, you can run the condensate heater off of it. It's got contacts on it. You can use it to sense a float switch in the condensate and turn the heater on and off, things like that. So that'll get them going. We'll have to sort out where these wires have been disconnected and remake them, and then sort out where these should go. Getting our little controller fitted in there, trying to make sense of this wiring. That's the defrost clock. Trace this bit of flex, disappears down behind the box, comes out the bottom here, and you can see that is as bad as it looks. That was just around the edge, fed into the box and piggybacked off of this. So we'll get that disconnected and redo these ends. That's how they'd run that, and you can just run them out the top. It's open. In fact, there's 2 spare terminals on the end here. I could have used those. Well, I've got the new controller fitted and wired. Just go through it one more time, make sure I've got it wired up correctly, because we've had to swap a load of wires around up the top here, and then trace some of these back. Some of them are redundant. I think that's for it's a live feed into the room. They might have had a freezer, what do you call it, like a vent with a heater in it, because it's a you could run it as a freezer. But that's disconnected. There's a cable inside with a terminal strip on it blanked off. I think that's what that is. One of the other ones was a light, which I think we've got disconnected here. That is our hot gas, I think. That's the condenser fan motor. That's the evap fan motor. That I think is the other hot gas. Pretty much everything else we've left alone. And then down here we've got power into the centre. It's normally close to here, which will put power onto the cooling solenoid, and it'll also feed the auxiliary relay, which we're using to control the condenser fan motor. So the idea is once it goes into defrost, even if the condenser fan motor relay is in, it'll drop the fan out. So that's how it was working before. They'd stop both fans during defrost, and then when it's on defrost it'll go over to here, and we'll set it up for hot gas defrost, so it'll keep the compressor running. We've got our evaporator fan, I think, run off the red wire. I need to trace that out actually, because that's going to the wrong one by the look of it. I think yeah, that's our evaporator fan. So we need to check that. The brown one's our cooling for the compressor. That's our live in. That's our neutral. These are our probes. And the live in's linked round to this side on that wire there. But yeah, I need to check that because that's obviously wrong. That is our. Let's see, that one I think is the defrost. That might be the cooling. I need to look at that. Right, let's see what happens. The solenoid cut in for E1 probe fault. Without door in a minute. E1's probably a evap probe fault. Right, let's put two new probes on it. Well, the evaporator probe was faulty. We've changed the both of them. Just powered it up. It didn't do anything, and then I realised I needed to put. That's a live in. I hadn't put a live into the to feed the fan and the compressor relays. So that's brought the compressor on the evap fan. I've got to program it to configure the auxiliary relay to run the condenser fan motor and set it up for hot gas defrost. So we'll get it all put back together, and then we'll have a go at programming this. Right, got that running now. I've got I had the auxiliary relay set up as a condenser fan relay, but it didn't seem to do anything. And now I suspect that you probably need a third probe, which probably controls the fan off the temperature or something. Anyway, so now we've set the condenser fan. There's a second compressor, as if it was running two condenser units. And then that's wired through a changeover switch. Like a relay that changes it over, so that when the defrost heater kicks in, it takes the power away from the relay that runs the fan, and because we've got the relay in there, you're not going to get a back feed from the fan trying to run the defrost. Let it go down to temperature, then we'll put on the defrost just to make sure it does work. Hopefully that should turn off when it gets to Right. Set that back up to 1, which is where they want it. Just going to check the evaporator fan is running. And that should kick back in. Once that warms up. There's anti-cycle timer on there, so about 3 degrees I think it should kick back in. There we go. That's flashing because it wants to be on, but it needs to wait a few minutes before it comes back on again. Right, let's just come back in. I'm going to get a new cover for this. It's fallen off with it. It's on a trailer. It's fell off as the tow in it, so we'll put some more duct tape around this and just seal up all the air gaps. Defrost now. Get the fan stopped. So the solenoid stopped. The other one's opened up and you hear the gas going through. Set the determination about 8 degrees. Fair bit of heat in there now. Right, it's just gone off. It's on dripping time now. It's probably about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and then the cooling should fire up.